Welcome to CAM Look, your twice-weekly dose of the Cincinnati Art Museum. Every Tuesday and Thursday, a staff member or volunteer will share an object from the permanent collection and pose questions for discussion. Please check back at 10 a.m. for a new discussion and a new artwork. My name is Sue. I'm a volunteer docent at the Art Museum. Today, I'd like to discuss this pair of beautiful bookcases designed by Paul Theodore Frankl, created sometime during the 1920s. Before we discuss the details of these bookcases, let's take a moment to look back and remember what was happening in the 1920s with regards to art and architecture. 1920s architecture was dominated by new technologies, new building techniques, and new construction materials. The development of steel, reinforced concrete, elevators, and water pumps made it possible to construct extremely tall buildings, thus the skyscraper. Art Deco was the name given to this period of international design. Also during this time, many cities, like Chicago, were recovering from fires or other disasters that had destroyed their cities. So they used this opportunity to redesign their cities, and most chose a grid system. These grids broke the city into small parcels of land that forced developers to maximize the vertical space rather than spread out horizontally. When Paul Frankl came to the United States from Austria in 1914, he was already an established artist and must have had a front row seat to witnessing the rise of such famous American skyscrapers like the Woolworth Building, just finished in 1913, and the Equitable Building, built in 1915. Frankl introduced his skyscraper-style furnishings and designs shortly after arriving in New York City. Frankl emulated the architectural form of these tall buildings in his furniture design. Much like a skyscraper building, Frankl felt that he had solved the problem of cramped apartment living in the same way that skyscrapers had solved the problem of urban sprawl, by using the vertical space. The use of the vertical space is exemplified by this pair of bookcases currently on display in Gallery 211 of the Art Museum. Our bookcases are made from California redwood and nickel-plated steel. Just by looking at them, you can see that they are almost 3 times taller than they are wide, and you can see a wide base with a stair-stepping vertical. Frankl mimics the jagged, upward-reaching outline of a New York skyscraper in this design. Aside from holding books, I can just imagine the original owners filling these shelves with display pieces and other prized possessions, much like the museum has done with its own display items. Frankl continued to develop his furnishings using the skyscraper design for about 10 years before moving on to other design trends like metal furnishings in the 1930s. He opened a design store in New York City, which featured his own furnishings like clocks and wallpaper. And in the 1940s, he moved to Los Angeles, where he claimed some of the Hollywood elite as fans of his work. Names like Fred Astaire, Katharine Hepburn, and Alfred Hitchcock became his clients. Cincinnati was also growing and expanding during the 1920s and 30s, and we have 2 pretty famous Art Deco buildings right here in our own city. The Hilton Cincinnati Netherland Plaza downtown on 5th Street and the Union Terminal on Kenner Street are local examples of the Art Deco style. So my question for you today is, have you visited either of these buildings? And if so, what is your favorite design feature, either interior or exterior, of these buildings? Personally, I love the interior of the Netherland Plaza and the Palm Court Bar. How about you? Leave your answers in the comments below.